Hey, everybody, we are back. It is a new year. It is a new season. It's episode 10 of Faith, Grit and Grace. Gosh, we have missed you guys so much. We know you've been asking and we are here. It's wonderful to be back with you with some more hot topics. You know how we like to do it. So on today's episode, we are going to talk about parenting. We're continuing our parenting series. I'm not sure how many of you listened to our last episode, but we talked about those terrible parents who just decide to leave their children. And then we realised actually there's been a couple of times when we've left our kids too. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about that today. We're also going to ask, when do you introduce your child to someone that you're dating? And what would you do if your child didn't like your partner or your fiance? And finally, have we done away with the traditional family values? You know, eating around the table, having your tablets while you eat, all that kind of stuff. Have we done away with all the traditional family values for a more modern way of family life? All of this coming up today on Faith, Grit and Grace.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. Happy New Year. It's 2024. And we are here. We are in the building. We are back. It is me, your host with the most, hopefully. It's Andrina. And my beautiful co-host, who do we have?
It's Tasha.
We are back. And welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for not disappearing on us over this long, drawn-out time that we've been away.
Goodness.
We hope we still got all of our listeners and hopefully some new and fresh ones. Thank you to all of those who've been asking about the show and when we're coming back and, you know, encouraging us to keep going. It's really, really great to hear those words of encouragement, and we love to hear it. So keep them coming. But yes, how are you doing, Miss Tasha?
I am well rested.
You refreshed from your break over the Christmas holiday, yes?
I am.
And now ready to take over the world in 2024?
No, not the world.
Come on, man. We're going to take over the world.
No.
Wonderful. All right, then. So, do you remember all that time ago when we were talking about that mother who chose to leave her children with the grandmother, and we talked about how terrible it was, and you know, we said for some parents who have to do it for mental health reasons or what have you, that it's fine, but you know, those who just abandon their children, it's just awful and terrible. And then after we kind of came off air, we both had a conversation about those times that actually we have left our children, and we did feel a little bit guilty, a little bit hypocritical.
I was like, I think I'm a rubbish parent.
And I was like, yes, no. So I think, come on, Tasha, you start off, because you were telling me a couple of the times that
I told you what number did I tell you?
You told me twice. You told me two.
The devil is a liar.
Listen, the way she's looking now, I feel like it was a lot more.
It was more. And I wrote on my paper here, I wrote 3 times.
Oh, wow.
But when I was getting ready, I don't know if the Holy Spirit was like, girl, no, check again. It was like 4. I was like, ooh.
My goodness. Okay, then, so.
But 3 of the times were really legitimate reasons, to be fair. Honestly. So don't judge me. You're judging me already, Andrina. That's not good. So I left my daughter when she was 1. She was closer to 2, to be fair. That's when I was going away to Teachers College, and it was only 2 weeks, and she was in good hands. She was in great hands. She was with my mother. Praise the Lord.
And I suppose at those ages, she may not have known. I mean, she's going to know that you're not there, but she probably won't remember it and be like,
she doesn't remember, but I could remember the moment because it traumatized me.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, because I could hear her crying. I could hear the crying, and they said she cried for hours when I left. So she kind of understood in her own little way.
Yeah, she would understand that mum is not there.
Then again, when she was 3, just before I was finishing up college, I had to send her back because teaching practice was going to be very hectic.
Right.
So I even blanked that. I didn't even remember. So when I was telling you too, I didn't even remember that one. So I think my mind or my brain was trying to protect
just blocked it out,
the trauma.
So how long was she?
It was about 4 months.
Ooh.
And I can't believe I didn't remember. But it was something I was doing the other day and it came back to my memory.
Wow.
Yes, she had gone back home the December and I didn't go back home until like the first week or so in May the next year. So that was that. And that was hard because she kept saying, Mom, when are you coming home? And I was like, soon. She's like, tomorrow? I'm like, no.
Not quite. Okay, so...
And then the other time, it was just like 2 weeks. I went on a holiday by myself.
Holiday by yourself?
I did. So that's the one I remember tonight. I was like, oh, that's true. I did. Again, she was with my mom.
Yeah.
And then when she was 8, and that's when I migrated here to the UK.
Right.
And I was here like 3 months without her.
Okay.
And then there was this time when I thought I needed a break.
Okay.
It was COVID time. You're locked in the house with the kids all day, all night, when it seemed like a day had 32 hours.
I'm telling you, and longer.
Listen. So I think after things lifted, a family friend was like, yeah, send the kids by me, da, 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 da. And I was like, okay, but I really felt like I really did need a break.
Yeah.
And so I did never again.
Yeah, oh gosh.
No. It was, no.
Was it for you, for them, for all of you? It was difficult?
Praise God. Oh, Lord. No. So ever since then, I haven't really left them with anybody up until like recently.
Okay.
And I went away for a week and left them with a friend. And when they say to you, why are you coming back for us already? That's when you know.
That's when you know they had a great time.
They
and
were
they
in
didn't even
good
think
hands.
about you. Yeah.
But that time, when they came home, you call them all the time, but when they came home, my daughter cried. She cried, and then my son was extra clingy. So every 2 steps I made, he was holding on to my foot, like he was crying.
Right.
If we were in the room and he turned around and he didn't see me, he would burst into tears. And I'm like, never again.
Yeah.
Never again. So, yeah.
I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because as single parents, and not everybody will necessarily understand that, but as single parents, when it is kind of you one, you do get to the stage where sometimes you do just need a break.
It's a burnout.
A break, yeah. But obviously the feelings of guilt and just, oh my goodness, I've left my child. It's funny because I was speaking to my mum this weekend about it, because I don't think my mum left me every once a year to go to ladies retreat for a weekend, and I hated it. I was like, oh my gosh, you leave me, you're abandoning me. Hated it, made her feel guilty every time. But I think when I was about 15, my mum and dad decided to go on holiday by themselves when I was 15, and oh my goodness, I gave them hell. I was like, I can't believe you're leaving me. I never thought you'd leave. But that comes from a place of privilege, because obviously I'd always gone away with them, and then they decided that they wanted to go away by themselves, and I was like, how dare you leave me? So I get it. And as parents, my mum has always said to me, your child is going to be in safe hands if you go and you leave her with us. So it's okay to go and leave her, but I've always
to find safe haven.
Definitely. Yeah. But I've always felt the guilt of that. Like, I've only left my daughter once. She was about 8 as well. And I went on missions to Macedonia for a week. And oh my goodness, it was so hard. She was in great hands. She was with my parents. She was well looked after. Everything was sorted. But I struggled, and every day. And to be honest, as the week went, I missed her more and more, and I just felt, I was like, I just want to go home now. I just want to, and because in Macedonia, the reception isn't great, so I wasn't able to call her as often as I'd want to, and all that kind of stuff. So, it wasn't a good experience, but I don't have any issue with parents leaving their children with safe adults for a short period of time if you need a break. Not at all. But I know it's not for everybody.
I wouldn't just say safe. I would add to that somebody who shares the same values that you do.
Definitely.
Because you might figure to yourself, cup is safe for me to leave my child with. But really and truly, if that person doesn't share the same values that you do, it's going to be a different, environment that your child is in. So you've got to be careful who you leave your child with, how long you leave them with. Where are you taking my child?
When I'm gone out.
Oh, I'm in Manchester. You're like,
what?
What?
Yeah.
oh, we're going to spend 2 days by somebody else's house. You're like, oh,
yeah. You
that
have
kind
to,
of thing.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
nah. But I found a family, and whenever I do have to, go on those little weekends for whatever reason, they're like, oh, are we staying by auntie? They even call her auntie. Are we staying by auntie so-and-so? Their bag's already packed.
That's it. And that's when you know you're like, sorted. You're good.
Praise the lads.
That's what you need. Okay, so judge us or not judge us. I don't know how you feel. Do you
I'm
leave
not a
your...
rubbish parent.
No, you're not. You're not.
Praise God.
It's all right. You redeemed yourself towards the end. You redeemed yourself.
Ouch.
So it's all right. I'll let you off there. Okay, then. Well, moving on. And this is kind of related to who do you leave your children with or what have you. So Miss Tasha, say that you are dating somebody. As I mentioned, we're single parents, we're dating, we're out there and stuff. When do you introduce your children to your new beau?
Jan, I'm not qualified to answer this question.
Oh!
I'm not even dating nobody. As a matter of fact, right? Before I answer, this week, I was in the kitchen, I ain't trouble nobody, washing my dishes, minding my own business. My son decides to say to me, Mom, how many dads does my sister have? I thought that this was the most weirdest, most randomest, is that a word?
Yeah.
Question. And I was like, one? Just like you? He's like, yeah, I know I have one daddy, but it gets confusing because if you get married, and I'm like, oh, I'm there now washing my dishes in slow motion.
Minding your business.
Like, where is this coming from? So I said, aren't I allowed to get married? He said, in the future.
Oh.
He said, not now. I was like, oh. He said, no, mommy, no, because then that's going to be confusing. And then we're going to have two daddies. Ooh. And that's going to be stressful. I'm like, Lord have mercy. Why was this child thinking about that?
Well,
apparently I'm forbidden to get married.
Sometime in the future, but not now.
Not now. And you know what his reason was? He said, if you get married, then you and me and sister are not going to have as much fun as we do now.
Oh.
I don't know where that came from.
You better prove him wrong, Tasha. Prove him wrong.
So if you're out there, you want to date me.
Oh, well, you gotta
prove the man in my life right
you gotta
now.
Prove you gotta have some fun all together.
But it's crazy that he would say that, though.
And just randomly, he must be thinking about it. Maybe the Holy Spirit is prompting him and preparing his heart for something that is...
push back my wedding date then.
Well, just a little bit. That's okay. We got to get our dresses and stuff. But I think it's a really difficult one, isn't it? Because we do know that there are some parents out there who, as soon as they have a new person in their life, the children, the children are calling them daddy, children calling them mummy, and
how many aunties and uncles can somebody possibly have? No.
And it can be confusing for the children, and that kind of thing. And I think what's happened for me, so my daughter's only met a minimum amount of people that I've dated, and that's only when I felt that this is definitely going in the right direction, as in it's leading to marriage. We are going to be there. But my last relationship all that time ago, he had children who were the same age as my daughter. So we did introduce them together as children and that kind of thing.
That's important.
It is. And they got on really, really well. But the problem was when we broke up, that relationship with those children was severed, and it's something that my daughter still speaks about now when she misses that. She's an only child, so she doesn't have siblings. So having those children in her life was really important to her. So I think it's such a difficult one because, which will lead on to our next topic. You need to introduce your children to who you're dating, but the question is when.
I think, well, for me, the only answer I had here is when you become exclusive with the person and you're not just casually dating.
Yeah.
That's the only answer I could have possibly come up with. Because if you're just casually dating, some people multi-date, that kind of thing, then I wouldn't advise.
No.
I wouldn't advise. But if you know, as you say, okay, it's heading in the right direction, then you want to see how does this person and my child or children, what is the relationship like? What does it look like? How does he fit in our dynamic? Because, just as my son says, are we still going to be able to have as much fun as we do? So when you come into this picture, what is it going to look like? Are you going to complement the picture, or are you going to subtract from it? Because if you're subtracting, then you got to
Yeah,
go.
definitely. And I 100% agree. And I think I would have to say, as exclusively dating, but it's got to be leading towards you can see yourself marrying this person and this person
That
being in
part.
your life for the rest of your life. Even if, because some people will be exclusive but have no intention of getting married. And you've got to have the discussion with the person you're dating as well. They've got to understand the significance of introducing your child to this person.
Yeah.
Because if they're just on a casual thing, even if you're exclusive, but they're just like, yeah, whatever, you know, and they don't recognize the significance in introducing your child to them, then they may not respect it as much, and they may not treat it as seriously as it is, because it's a big thing. It's a big deal. Just like your son said, you know, how many daddies am I going to have?
My God.
We can't be introducing them to one new daddy and then 6 months another daddy and then another daddy and then
uncle. Uncle so-and-so.
You know, I think that leads on really nicely or neatly to the next question. So let's say you've met the love of your life. He's amazing and he's everything you wanted him to be. You had a beautiful proposal and it's just the way you want it and all that kind of stuff, right? And then one of your children or both of your children just does not like him and does not get on with him at all. And it's not, let's not say it's because of any type of abuse or any inappropriate behaviours. Let's say that he's a decent guy, but your child, as your son has mentioned, just can't see you being with somebody else or in a relationship with somebody. And the person may not have been mean or unkind to them, but some of the things that the person does irritates them. Because, you know, sometimes when you don't like somebody, just everything they do irritates you.
Just the way they breathe.
Yeah. So they just do not. And it'll be interesting for you as your children are different ages. So I would like to know, if it was your older child, what would you say, knowing that she may be getting ready to fly the nest at some point and what have you, and your younger child who's going to be there with you for a lot longer?
I would value obviously both of their opinions. And you said leaving the nest, but one thing I've always said to my kids, I'm telling them from now, you have a place to come back to. Don't go out in this world because life is hard.
Listen, they can
and be out there on the struggle bus. Come home to mommy. Come home to mommy. So I remember one day my daughter, she's more and more warming up to the idea, but she was always the type of child that always wanted to see me in love or with somebody. So she would always say, Mommy, when are you getting married? That was when she was small. I think she just really wanted to be a flower girl. But anyway, you know, or even now, she would say things like, when you get married, and she's like, you're going to need a king size bed because there has to be enough space for all of us. So that means that she has the intention to love whoever I love. So if she does not, knowing the personality of both of my children, I'll have to stop and ask myself, why? What are they seeing that I'm not seeing? And for me, if that person that I'm going to spend my life with, whether my children leave the nest or they're hibernating somewhere, if you're going to be in my life and you're going to mess with the dynamic of me and my kids, then that's wonderful proposal or not, it's going to have to be a no. I'm going to have to be that old woman with the cats.
Cats and
my
children
mean a lot to me. They mean a lot to me. So I can't just let anybody just come in and spoil that, even if it seems like you are ticking all the boxes. If you're not ticking that box, because that's important to me. We come as a package deal. If you're not ticking that box that, you know, you can flow in this family dynamic, we can incorporate you and you can incorporate us, because maybe he might have kids as well, then it's a no. I will never choose hubby over my babies. No. Sorry.
No. It's great. It's great. And I think for me, 100%, you know, my child is my child. She came from me, so she's very, very important. I think I would do my best to see if we could work it out and see what could be done. Because I remember my mum had a friend, and obviously she wasn't going to get married to this friend, but she had a friend when I was younger, and this friend was always around, male friend, but it was always around, and, you know, they were very, very good friends. And I just, eventually I couldn't stand him because I was just like, you are always here. You do my head in. I can't take it. Why just go home?
Jealous?
It wasn't jealous. It was just he was always in my space. And it might have been a little bit of jealousy in the sense of when I wanted to speak to my mum, she was on the phone or what have you. But he persevered with me, and now we have a great relationship.
Okay.
Do you know? So I was a Christian, so I won't use the word hate, but as close to the word strong dislike, yeah, as close to the word hate as you can get. Really, really, really. And now it's the complete opposite. I completely love him. So I would hope that we could work it out with my daughter so that she would. Now, as I said, it's not if there's any abuse or anything like that, but if it is just a genuine, there is maybe those feelings of jealousy or fear, or he's taking my mum's attention or what have you. I would hope that we could work it out, but if really they couldn't, then we can't, because we have to all live together.
We have to live together.
Yeah.
And I'm not
I
about
can't
the
have
drama.
in the house. You wake up, it's
There's
difficult
hell
enough.
outside.
Exactly.
When we come in here, it's our sanctuary.
Absolutely.
The only thing I could add to what you said is that I would try to have if I realize that it's just petty stuff, have an inclusive relationship. If me and the guy are dating, then can the kids and you date as well? Take them out, take them on play dates, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, to build
that bond.
Yeah, definitely.
But if it really can't be built, then
it can't.
Hit the road, Jack.
Okay, well, any guys that are stepping to us, come on now. You know, we come as a unit.
They're running now, Andrew.
No, they're not. No, I still have faith.
The pool had 10, now it has 3.
It's got smaller, but I still have faith that there are some good Christian men out there who will embrace us and will embrace them with their children as well. So
I'm going to have to go on The Bachelorette now.
Oh, listen. Right. Okay, then. So, just to finish off, and this was a fun one. This was recommended by producer Stefan. We have. Traditional family values.
You didn't even let me say hello today.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Producer Stefan, I know, it's
You know, everybody's going to have our heads now.
Exactly.
We had him there not talking.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
Stefan, say hello. Let the people know that you're here. Say Happy New Year to everybody.
What up? Happy New Year. I'm just enjoying the vibes, to be fair. It's good to be back.
Yeah, it's what big sisters do. I'm sorry. Okay, so why don't you bring this topic then and talk about why you thought it would be a good one for us to talk about today?
Are we talking about the family around? Okay,
tablets and all that kind of stuff.
So
dinner table.
So, I mean, I brought this topic to the guys. I said, look, do we live in an age now where sitting around the table as a family is that just old-fashioned? Is it out of play? Is it out of fashion? Do we just sit down in front of our TV, having TV dinners together, eating food? It sounds bad. It sounds bad, but are we holding to old school stereotypes? Is this not the new normal? I mean, we're in a TikTok and social media generation where everybody's just on their phones. You know, have at it. What do you think? Is it bad? Is it good? Is it indifferent? Is it?
I don't like the word traditional.
Okay.
I don't like it. So I'm not a traditional person. But as I was thinking about that, I was driving to work this morning. I'm like, with the life that we have, sitting down to family dinners every night, it's not going to happen.
It doesn't happen.
Because sometimes we get home at 8. So eating, you know, and my kids eat different things. So whatever. My dinner table has been set from since like the second week in December. So if you walk in my house now, you think it's dinner time. Listen, the china is there, but we are not there. Okay? Family dinner was had in McDonald's 3 Sundays ago.
Oh,
that was
Sunday dinner.
Sunday dinner was at McDonald's. Oh, 3 Sundays ago.
Anti-traditional there.
We might do KFC, but we take it home and at least cook the rice and peas with it. McDonald's, that's a new level. But I'm not judging.
I'm like, how did I get here? But they were happy. I was happy. We were happy.
Listen.
But the devices, that's the only part that I would say, come on, let's have a conversation. That's one thing I try to do with the kids. But to be fair, the cooking of the big Sunday meal and all of that, we don't really do that anymore. The kids, they hardly eat it.
Yeah.
and then I have to eat it and then put on 10 pounds. And then I'm in the gym stressing myself. So we keep it simple. When we can, we do use stuff like pancake, when they have pancake day and stuff like that, we will come together on that evening.
Shrove
we'll
Tuesday.
eat pancake.
Shrove Tuesday.
Sorry,
Shrove
said the
Tuesday.
word. There we go. So we'll
Pancake
do
day.
stuff like that. Christmas Day, we had our meal around the table. But on a regular Monday to Friday, it's not doable. And plus, we're in an age where we meal prep.
We do.
We meal prep. So most
Do we?
times, sometimes,
Some
so most times we have our heavier meal for lunch. So when we do get home, it's like a sandwich or cereal or something. So
Honestly.
I'm not a traditional gal.
Yeah, I think I've got to say, I think the older generation will do the big cooking on a Sunday maybe, but I do think that is possibly dying out a little bit. And maybe there are some people our age who do still do it. I don't, and I'm embarrassed to say we don't eat around the table. We have one; it's there.
All of us
But
do.
it's there, but we don't eat around it. And I know that one of the things that they say or research tells us is actually it's important to at least have one communal meal a week if you can.
Does it have to be at the table though?
It probably doesn't have to be at the table, but mine is around the TV.
TV dinner?
Yeah.
So if we're not even
TV
talking,
show?
Or in the bed?
yeah, you
Like,
know.
come on, guys. The movie's starting.
Yeah. So it's not even things down. And I do think back to mine and Stefan's childhood, and I wrote it down that my mum used to say, okay, no elbows on the table. We weren't
much
allowed
pressure.
to. Yeah, we weren't allowed. You're not allowed to sing around the
thank
table,
them for
which
that,
is
though.
random. Yeah,
I mean, it's
Thing,
bad
though.
manners, isn't it?
It's bad manners,
And bad
apparently.
luck,
but
apparently,
well,
yeah.
I don't know about the
Oh.
look, but it's bad manners. But I was like, not that I would sit round, but sometimes you would just hum a little ditty while you were going to sit down or whatever, and it's like,
rude.
don't sing around the table.
Rude.
It's rude, yeah. And I just thought all these things. I don't even know if my daughter would know that it's rude. I don't even think I've said to her it's rude to sing around because we don't really sit around the table for her to sing.
I do try and tell them when we do, because one good thing I would say about the family dinners, I can't remember if we did it Monday to Friday in our household when we were growing up, but definitely on a Sunday, and we had to eat with knife and fork.
Okay.
I don't hate it because when I go to a restaurant now, I
Yeah.
don't look like an idiot. So I am happy
Yeah.
for that, I must say. So I do try, when we do actually eat at the table, just tell them, we don't put our elbows because it's manners, fork in this hand, knife in that hand, so at least they know. So we don't
You remember that
silly.
Fresh Prince episode where Carlton's trying to train Will all the forks and on the table because it was some big gala thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't ghetto, but
How
like,
often do you go to a gala?
Yeah, and also like the amount, nobody uses 6 forks
No.
and 6 knives in the house.
Only in those posh, not in the house, in those posh restaurants. And I suppose if you go somewhere, I understand it. It's training, isn't
It's
it?
good to know these things.
It's good to know.
Good to know these
And and even to train your children so that when you go out, even if you go to a restaurant, they don't go out and embarrass you. They know how to sit down at a table. Because we are the ones who will look at the other table where the kids are running rampant and be like, got no home training. They just carry on
we're
like
not
that.
judging,
No, we're not judging, but we're like, their parents ain't saying nothing.
As you see a chicken leg fly through the air.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So, I think there is definitely a place for it. And I think it is it's sad that we've lost so much of it, and maybe more in my family
we
than
lost
yours.
it?
Do you reckon, is it
Entirely.
dying out? Is it dying out?
I think it's just evolved. That's the word.
Okay.
Because imagine my parents teaching me how to use a knife and fork and whatever, but I never go out in a social setting to actually
use
do
it,
it.
yeah.
Then it would have been just something that I know but I've never
You need
used.
better friends.
Listen,
You need better friends.
When I see certain friends text me, I'm like, oh Lord, there goes my gas money. But at least what I do try to do now is take the kids out, because you can tell them so many things, but unless you take that in a social setting, because my son would have been the one I have to be dragging up off the floor like, sit down, But now that he goes out, he knows how to sit still, eat his meal. So I don't think it's dying out per se. It's just evolved, and just us realizing that some of the things are just unnecessary.
Yeah, some of the things are
Wait,
just
what's
a bit extra.
unnecessary though? What's unnecessary? like napkins folded up into like
Unnecessary.
in fans.
And who's washing all these napkins?
And I think for those of our parents, and we know that life was really different back in the day in the terms of maybe
thought
one
they were
parent
rich.
stayed, or one parent stayed at
lots of
home.
food.
And the other parent went out to work. So there was one parent at home who had the time to prepare the meal for the
both
family
of my
and
parents
stuff.
worked.
Really? And did you
Yeah.
still come home to a home cooked meal every day, sitting around the table?
Somebody was cooking.
Wow.
Yeah, somebody was cooking.
That wasn't our upbringing.
No, I mean, somebody cooked, but
Someone
we
did cook.
wouldn't always sit around
Not we, because I would have been younger. But when my siblings were actually at home, the spoken, unspoken rule was whoever gets home first cooks.
Okay.
So
okay.
there was always warm food.
Yeah.
So my parents are coming home. Don't expect them to come home 6 o'clock to cook. If we're already there, then they'll have to.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, the thing is, we did have a hot meal, and we didn't even have the money to order out or go out as
Yeah,
much as we
we
do
didn't.
now.
But
I
that's
think
what I'm thinking. Us black people, we do the most. Have you ever looked at your
do it
Saturday soup
right,
and
that's
see
why.
how much
We do it
things are
right.
in that?
that's a whole meal and
For the
two
rest
in
of the
itself.
week.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking the money that we spent making that soup for that one day could have been a
But
meal
soup
somewhere
is, but
else.
soup is
Isn't there a
reasonable
history-
for a couple of days.
Isn't there a history behind Saturday soup?
There is a history in the sense of, from what I understand, back in slavery, we got the kind of the last bits of the meat, so we had to make a bigger meal as possible, and we cooked and we just threw in everything to cook it down to make it
That's
spread
exactly
and make it
what
last.
it looks like.
Yeah, everything goes in there.
Everything in that soup.
But I think
My
soup
gosh.
is quite reasonable. It's very time consuming. It takes very long to make.
For me,
and
I've
okay.
edited.
Oh,
My
you
kids
better-
don't like peas. I stopped putting peas in it. Like
You better
my
share the
soup is the
recipe.
quickest soup to make, and it's quite delicious.
Do you make it every Saturday?
No, ma'am. I
Yeah.
don't. Did you not hear? I don't do tradition.
Right. Okay. So, but that's what I was because
If it's a Sunday, I'll do it on a Sunday, you know.
Okay, so
When
you
Mom
just
was
do-
alive, one day she called and she's like, "What are you cooking?" I was like, "Soup." She's like, "It's Sunday." I said, "My tummy doesn't know what day of the week it is." Okay, if I feel like soup on a Sunday, I'ma cook it. If it's Wednesday, I'ma cook it. So
it's
yeah.
funny because we grew up with
Honestly.
our grandmother cooking Saturday soup every Saturday. That was what we had, and then
Saturday.
rice and
Sunday,
peas and
yeah.
chicken Sunday dinner on a
Pilau.
Sunday every weekend. Sometimes I never wanted rice and peas
Yeah,
and
because
chicken
you're
on a
bored of
Sunday.
the food
I wanted
now.
something different.
Come on.
But every Sunday,
I wanted it.
no, it's nothing good. but I think that's something that's changed. I don't even cook soup. I know, my
You're gonna come by me one day. It doesn't
will.
have to be a Saturday. And we're gonna cook that traditional,
Please, we need to, because
non-traditional soup.
my pool of 3 has now gone down to 1, so so we need to cook this soup.
And we need to know
But
the
do you
soup.
own a Dutch pot?
I do own a Dutch
Yeah.
pot. Yes, I think that
Oh,
that
oh.
should.
Then why are you looking at me, Lord?
You don't own a
Jesus?
Dutch. Well, you
Come-
cook
you
Not
can't say
anymore.
Jamaican
You
and
don't
own a
do
Dutch
soup in
pot.
the. What do
I am a monstration.
okay.
But I should still have one. but
You
I don't
should. I
have one.
think
Yeah.
it's yes. But
No,
anyway,
don't take
so-
away my Caribbean card. Please don't.
It's okay. It's not revoked yet.
Okay.
We're watching though. We're watching. But yeah, okay. So we know that there are still some things that we might say are traditional. We may not live up to them, although we still have the characteristics of the culture.
dear.
We do. And I rate anybody that's still doing it. I rate anybody. Listen, if you have Saturday soup every
clap for
Saturday, let me know. We'll be there with our pots
And our spoons.
and our spoons. Absolutely.
And our soup bowl.
Innit?
You have to have the soup.
The soup bowl and the soup spoons.
Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
But yeah, so thank you guys so much. It has been great being back. It's so good being back, and it's great catching up with you again. So we will see you again on the next episode of Faith, Grit and Grace.
Bye.